Well, today we're going to talk about why Activision Blizzard is trying to force their employees back to the office. That's right, get back to your work desk and start making me more games and being here on time, or you're fired.
Allison, I don't have time to make people comfortable. If a change has to be made, it has to be made. Jerry, Cal, Max, Steve, you're fired. What?
What?
No kidding. It's moving day.
From the Gamer, Blizzard puts together the crisis map of games it cannot ship due to staff losses. They're losing people left, right, and center, and in the process, they turn around and say they're scrapping remote work. Geez, I wonder if people are not doing enough at home to suggest that they can make these deadlines. They've got to do something. They've got to show something on the books that they can actually make some deadlines. And if they're all at home, not working properly and working on their own schedules, it doesn't work for the company to make these deadlines. Well, a lot of people saying that this is not really what they want to do. They're going to have like up to a 14-hour commute because they work at home. Geez, I think you're going to be looking for a different job. It's either you get to the office or you're going to be out left in the cold. Part of this, I believe, what I believe is happening here is they've got to do a reduction in their size. They're being acquired by Microsoft. That deal looks like it's going to go through. And regardless if they enact this type of policy or not, layoffs happen with mergers. This is what happens all the time when mergers happen. There is a downsizing of the workforce, and then they weed out and people come back to the office and people come back together and they start applying again and work in a different fashion. It's the nature of a merger and the business of doing this type of thing in a publicly traded space. So Microsoft and Blizzard, it's going to be turmoil. These employees should know this, and there's talk that they're going to unionize again. There's talk that they're going to push forward all these strange ideas where ideology gets in the way. It's not indicative. It's not going to push forward and create a respective work environment if you have to face the music and know that it's going to come down to either you're leaving or you're not. That's where it's going to go. Almost 2 years since the allegations of workplace abuse came to light, Blizzard is still losing too many workers to sustain itself. That is according to the current employees venting their frustrations on Twitter, blaming poor leadership and a forced return to work order that has put an end to working from home. The frustrations of a return to work order has spilled over into the Twitter space. Of course, out of all places, it goes on to Twitter. Mandatory RTO doesn't work. The team shipped while working remotely. Executives are more worried about share prices than they are quality and staff well-being. Most of the things we see as players are these same executives valuing profit over people. They deserve a better ABK. Well, I gotta say, with the merger that is happening, this isn't surprising. Seeing them enact a return to the office, especially after what we're seeing with Facebook with thousands of layoffs, Microsoft with thousands of layoffs, Twitter with the thousands of layoffs. Everything in big tech is laying off right now because people need to return to the office, and all these little check marks and these little extra things like your breakfast being provided. You're all coming down to the real world. You're coming down to the rest of us. You're coming down to the rest of us plebs where we actually have to go into a job, work our ass off just to pay the bills around the house. By the way, if you guys can, please like, subscribe, and if you help support this channel, I maybe don't have to work as hard the next day. Patreon memberships, of course. It's funny. You know, I can't really side with Microsoft and Activision Blizzard because I see things that they've done. There's been things that they've done, but at the same junction, they've got the employees that are demanding things that just don't seem practical. Working from home is everybody's dream. It's my dream right now to be able to sit here and work from this desk on a regular basis pumping out YouTube videos. That would be a great place to be. But I'm nowhere close to that. I still got to work as an electrician doing hard labor. That's part of how you get there. It's part of moving forward in life. Sitting there on my ass at home, I would still need to get up and do something with myself on a regular basis that would be out in the real world. It's a great goal to maybe be able to work from home. Working on jobs like game development, where you actually have to go in and do arts, and it's a lot easier if you can sit there in an office and hand transcripts back and forth and actually have a discussion face to face like normal people. Twitter has done this, and look at where it is right now. They're doing what I see fairly decently. A lot of people bitch about it, but that's the space that we're in. That's the online social media where everyone gets a voice and everyone can actually yell into the void. It's those that choose to listen is the different matter. Now, not everything is perfect in a workforce, and I believe that this is one of those situations where they have to do a return to the office, mostly because of the Microsoft merger that's going to happen. Also, they have all these games that they just seem to be having to shelf because they are crossing them out. Like we are creating crisis maps of what we can or cannot ship. That is the loss of capacity we are facing. I literally have a schedule I strike out as people hand in notices. And if you're on the project manager side of things, you literally have this chart. You have a chart out there that shows you how many people that you need to do these certain projects, how many work hours, how many man hours need to be put into this project. And it goes up and down, up and down. And that is part of managing a project. And when the project manager at the top here says, we don't have enough people to do this, the managers down below go, well, I guess I cross this out. That it's plain and simple. This has nothing to do with the executives at Microsoft or Activision Blizzard. If you know where your caseload is, where your load is, where you need the people, it tells you on this list. And the number list will say this is no longer conducive. You can no longer do this. Cross it out. It's gone. There are people that require to work remotely because they have disability. If over half your workforce are disabled and they're trying to push out games, then there's something else going on there. And that in itself, as a whole, needs to be looked at as a company standard. And if that's the case, then you need to actually go forward with that. But not everyone is disabled. A lot of people are not disabled. I have a disability. I still make it into work, and I do what I need to. And my disability is physical. It's not mental. My disability is very physical. So that in itself, it doesn't excuse me from missing work. This in particular, I think that they've got to move forward. You know, it is a unique situation that I find myself in when it comes to disabilities, because I do have one. It's not something I talk about very often because it's not something that everyone can see. That's why. Now, when it comes to working remotely, it would be a great dream job, but that's the thing. It's a dream. It's not going to be for a company to sit there and have everybody work remotely. More things happen in the office, more things happen when you can work together in the office, actually coming up with brainstorming, doing ideas. And like I said, an artist sketch being at work would mean way more inducive. You can adjust things a lot quicker. You can get things done. And the merger's on its way. So this is either they're using it as a tool to weed out those that don't want to return to the office and be able to actually have a less of a reduction once the merger happens, or this is Blizzard Activision trying to show on paper that they can get the job done. They can get things done. So when Microsoft does come in, they don't turn around and completely axe the entire thing and have Microsoft employees take it over like what we saw with Twitter. When it all comes down to it, these are just my thoughts on the matter. Why I think that Blizzard has to do this. They don't really have a choice on the matter, especially when they have like project managers and the numbers on the paper say this is what the numbers are telling us. This is where we are. They have them in front of them. And the executives are having to make the tough calls here. Yes, people are going to sit there and say, "Oh, this won't change anything." We're seeing articles even saying this, where it's not going to make things better by people coming into the office. Not much is going to make things better until the merger happens. I got to tell you that. And it's just stories for everyone to write about right now. This is what's really going on, and why you kind of want to be on your best behavior at Activision Blizzard right now and work as hard as possible, because otherwise you're going to be showing the door very, very soon. Thanks for watching. I'm your proud Canadian Phoenix Cinder Shadow. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you again very soon.